Hi, this is Adam, and I wanted to talk with you about music literacy in choir. This is not music literacy for the sake of music literacy. This is not music literacy for what your college professors told you needed to be learned by your students. This is actual practical music literacy for students in choir. I want to start with the concept of the way we learn to speak. When we're little kids and we learn to speak a language, it's all about sounds. It's all about applying those sounds. Buh, 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 right? And those things turn into words. Eventually, after we've learned enough words, we get to a picture book and we point to the picture and we say apple or bed. And above the picture might say bed or say apple. And we get used to it. These are sight words. Sight words are words that we've already heard before, words that we already use, and then we apply it to letters. Now, you're learning those letters separately. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. You're singing those songs. You're learning the letters. You're learning the sounds of those letters. And in the meantime, you're just speaking. You're speaking advanced words before you learn to read. As choral teachers, we want to take the same approach. We want to develop the ears of our students first. We want to teach them the solfege so they understand conceptually the framework of the solfege, that it's a scale, do, re, mi, fa, sol, right? Also, we want them to be able to hear all of those sounds broken apart. So not just a scale, but they could sing do and sol and mi and re and fa. Notice how I'm not doing the Kerwin hand signals. That's up to you if you want to teach them or you prefer not to teach them. But the first step to music literacy is hearing. Keep in mind that a lot of cultures around the world are not using our Western notation anyway. So to think that there's one way to develop music literacy is truly just not the case. Now, I'm a huge advocate for music literacy with notation and all of that stuff, but I believe the ear comes first. Always. The ear always comes first. And prior to the ear, we must have established vocal technique. Students must have developed enough vocal technique, enough breath support, enough vocal placement that they can sing the pitches in tune. So, vocal technique and oral training have to work hand in hand, I should say. So we're focusing on vocal technique and we're focusing on oral training. As the students are developing the sound concepts, we are then connecting it to the visual, to the pitches on the staff. Now, you might be teaching them to read pitches on the staff independently from sound. For example, you might give them the notation and teach them how to label the solfege. Label do, re, mi, fa, sol. Notice skipping versus stepwise motion. But this is stuff that a mathematician could learn, even if they don't understand anything about music. It's just math, right? It's counting, it's skipping. That stuff is independent from developing the ear. So we're developing the ear the same way as little kids are developing sound. They're developing words, sounds out of their mouth that form words. And then independently, we're doing A, B, C, D, E, A, B, K, D. So they're learning the sounds. That's like creating the sounds in their head and then uh, looking at the musical staff and seeing the pitches. Children are looking at books and seeing the letter A, and then they see all the words that start with A. B, ball, bed, book, and so on. They are creating the sounds, then they're looking at the book. Independently, they might also be working on the alphabet. They might also be just looking at those letters. Oral training, creating the sounds in their head, listening, producing sounds, and then visually looking at the sight reading, looking at notes on a staff. So students need to independently understand the notes on the staff, be able to label it visually, what they're seeing, along with rhythm, being able to count the rhythm out, understanding how rhythm works visually, and they need to hear the sound independently. So oral training based on vocal technique is the key to music literacy. Without that, nothing else matters. If we're doing that, we should also then start with notation where students are understanding the notation, and then we meld that together. Now, I'm not saying we can't do notation and pitches together at the same time. Some students can do it right away. Many cannot. And if we work independently at developing the skills of oral training, which is based on vocal technique first, visually being able to label the solfege, also being able to label the rhythm, also being able to repeat rhythm through call and response. If we can put all of this together, then we've developed music literacy in our choir. So it's really important that we teach songs by rote. That's part of developing the ear. It's also important that we teach students to label pitches, label solfege, and after they've labeled the solfege, then sing those pitches. That's connecting solfege to reading. In fact, they might not even need to look at sheet music first. Maybe it's just solfege without notes. Then it's solfege under the notes. Rhythm, they're labeling the rhythm on top of the pitches. They're doing call and response rhythms. If you just isolate rhythms, they're able to clap them or speak them. Music literacy is about those three independent skills: the oral training, the note labeling, and the rhythm. If you think about those skills independently, you can break them down to the lowest common denominator so you could help every student wherever they are get to the next level and the next level and the next level. Finally, I wanted to mention the fact that you can combine these skills together. So you could take any two of those three skills and combine them, and students are on their way to developing fluency with music literacy. So they can label the pitches on the staff, and then they can speak those pitches, maybe in rhythm. That's an example. You can take any of those three skills: labeling pitches, labeling rhythm, and creating the sound in their head. And if you combined any two of them together, students would have a better chance of success than putting all three together at once. So you start with one skill, you isolate all three of them, you put two of them together, and then you add all three. And then students will, over time, be able to sight sing. Now, there's a lot more to these concepts than what I'm explaining now. A lot more to how do you teach your students to independently grow their skill so you don't set a top line of how far they can go. You actually just set a foundation where they can go as far as they want to go in developing those skills. Students will see no barrier to where the peak level is for them. So a student entering, let's say, freshman year can become the best sight reader in the universe if they're motivated to get there. There are ways to create a system for your students to do that. If you'd like to learn more about how to develop music literacy, not only for the whole choir, but for each individual, I teach that both in my independent courses on music literacy and also in my Choral Clarity Collective. If you'd like to learn more about the Choral Clarity Collective, you can click the link, and I look forward to seeing you.